Hey everybody, I'm Fran Capitanelli, and welcome to another episode of Things Go Wrong on Stage. Before I get started, we're coming up on 500 subscribers. I've been stuck at $4.99 for like a week. But I need to get to 1,000, so if any of y'all are watching and enjoying, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Meanwhile, back in the early 80s, I went to one of my first concerts. It was The Police at Shea Stadium. And they put on a fantastic show, of course. It was like the biggest show of their career. And after the show, I got this little flyer. I don't even know where I got it from, but it was saying the Police are putting out a documentary about the first 3 tours that they did, or the tours for the first 3 albums. And if you want it, you fill out this piece of paper and send it in with your money, and you get a Betamax tape, which is what I got. And we had a Betamax player. So I watched this thing over and over, hundreds of times, The Police Around the World. And it's a great documentary. Eventually, I got it on VHS. I upgraded, but it never came out on DVD. And all these years, I keep checking back in. Is it out yet? DVDs came and went, and the thing still wasn't out. Because the Police were putting out Stewart's documentary, and then they put out Andy's documentary. And now, finally, The Police Around the World has come out. It came out, they put a 12-inch vinyl out with it, with a bunch of the songs from the video.
And they added this DVD in there too.
Needless to say, I was stoked, and I bought it. I went to watch this DVD.
And they took out the best part.
They took it out. There's a part in it where Sting gets mad at someone in the audience because they threw mud at him. He ends up, at the end of the song, giving him a little whack in the head with the end of his bass, the headstock of his bass, and a couple of spittles. Maybe that's why they took it out of this DVD. He didn't want to show that side of him. But it happened, and it was the best part of this documentary, so why hide from it now?
Coming through the mud at me, I want to rip his fucking arms off. Your fresh fuck on cool.
He can barely concentrate on what's going on. He's like, In 1982, The Who embarked on their first farewell tour. it really was the end of their, be careful here, it was the end of their heyday. And so it made sense for them to do this. They didn't realize you could keep coming back for another 40 years and continue to play. But this tour, it was a big deal. And they televised the very last concert on pay-per-view, and it was in Montreal. I was waiting very patiently for this day, and I videoed it and I watched it over and over. At a certain point in this show, Roger's doing the microphone lasso trick, and he lassos at the wrong time. It almost kind of looks like he does it in person. It almost looks like he does it on purpose, where he lassos Pete's guitar cord while Pete's jumping in the air and they get tangled up. This is a really funny moment because you want your rock show to be kind of like, you know, mysterious and seem like it's being projected from the heavens. So when you see a little Keystone Cops situation like this going on, you can't help but laugh along with them.
Why should I care? Why should I care? In our minds and our souls, fire, storm, water, all my generation, uppers and downers, get away from the floors. Inside, outside, leave me alone. Inside, outside, nowhere is home.
Sly and the Family Stone.
Peter's getting stronger.
Sly and the Family Stone are one of my favorite bands. Anybody that's been around me for any length of time has been exposed to hearing all of their music. Check out how alive and vibrant and awesome they are here in 1970 on their way up.
There in the country sun, and everything is cool. Oh yeah, yeah. Hot fun in the summertime. Hot fun in the summertime.
Now Look at this video of the same song just 4 years later, after mega drugs have ensued.
The spring and here she comes. Hi, hi, hi there. Those summer days.
So right here, Sly's gonna forget the words. Sly is the guest host on the Mike Douglas show. It's a daytime show. It's a daytime talk show that they had in the 70s. Sly is the guest host. He's on for the entire week. He's co-hosting with Mike Douglas. So right here, you can see him, he forgets the words. And he looks over at Mike Douglas, he wants to start over, and they're like, they won't let him. Probably because they've been going through this all week. Sly is notorious for not showing up and being unreliable.
Fun in the summertime. Oh, yeah. Fun in the summertime. And then damn summer days. Oh,
In the late 80s, early 90s, I got to see one of my favorite bands a bunch of times, Janesaddiction. And every time I saw them, they were bigger and better than the last time. There's this show from Detroit that's online. There should be more Janesaddiction out there from this period of 87 through 90, but there's not a lot to choose from. But this show is in its entirety.
And I've picked out a few special gems from it.
Perryfarrell, the singer for Janesaddiction, he had this quality about him. When Janesaddiction took the stage, it was nothing short of terrifying. They all had this power to them individually and as a whole. But Perry, the singer, he was the keeper of that power. He had the ability to purvey his talent, his image, his style, some fear, and some comedy, all in one fell swoop.
Hey, I got a broken ankle. I'm happy I have a fucking broken ankle. I just broke my ankle. Feels kind of nice.
So they're in the middle of their song, Pigs in Zen, and there's this little breakdown part, and people start coming onto the stage, and Perry just goes with it, lets everyone talk. Then at a certain point, you can tell he's over it. So he starts kind of threatening the crowd. Who wants me to tattoo their face? Trying to keep them from coming up there. And he says some other things that I couldn't really put on here. But it doesn't stop the people from coming up on the stage. It just gets more bizarre as it goes on.
I love Detroit. Hey man, don't be a pig, man. Don't be a pig. You got something that you want to say? I love you, motherfucker! Evil sin! a fuck, man. I have a good time wherever I go. Where do you live, bro? I live all over this motherfucking planet, man. I live in Detroit. Have a nice day in Detroit! Detroit!
So the real action happens here in the very last song, Trip Away. Dave Navarro's guitar is starting to get pretty out of tune. I love this guitar that he has, this black Les Paul. I always wondered, what happened to this guitar? So Perry's holding up his mic to the gods, and then he throws it down. And he looks at Dave Navarro and says, do that to your guitar. Dave Navarro's like, what? Here, let me see your guitar. He holds it up, I will. And that's the end of that guitar, and you never see it again. He fixes the tuning problem for good. That's all for now. I'm Fran Capitanelli, totally into the sound. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you had a good time. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time.